We're generating over $130,000 in lifetime revenue every single month for our client RB2B with nothing but cold email. And for Fixer AI, we built a cold email machine that was producing $4.3 million in annual recurring revenue at its peak. And while infrastructure and deliverability matter, a huge part of why these campaigns print is the email copy itself. In this video, I'm going to walk you through and show you exactly how we process and think about writing cold emails that get these kinds of results. You see, most people approach cold email copy backwards. They obsess over writing the perfect email first. They try to predict what message will resonate. They spend weeks crafting one version and just hope it works well. We don't try to guess. We test multiple completely different angles from the start. We're talking dozens and sometimes 50 plus variants of copy fresh right off the rip. And so while some people might A/B test with a couple changes here and there, we try every angle we can imagine. And then we let the data tell us exactly what does resonate. We allow the marketplace to tell us what actually works. And because we can do it with enough scale, we can test every single angle and really know for a certainty for our clients if cold email works for them in a very quick amount of time. Instead of taking 6 months, 9 months, a year, we can have an answer for them in as soon as a few weeks, at the longest 3 months. And the other thing most people get wrong is who they're writing to. They've heard that only 3% of the marketplace is in a position to buy at any given time. And so they're trying to predict who those 3% are and write hyper targeted copy just for them. So they'll send out 100, maybe 50 emails every single day trying to write the perfect message to these people. And they'll gloat that they have like really crazy positive reply rates and stuff. But when you look at the hard numbers, the results that actually matter, the quantitative results, they do not even compare. We write for the 97%. We're not trying to catch someone at the perfect moment. We're reaching our entire total addressable market every 30 to 60 days with ideally, eventually, one simple message. We're not spamming because we're just one email every couple of months. We don't like doing follow-up sequences and things like that. And so we write copy that's clear and valuable to anybody in our market, not just the people who are ready to buy today. And eventually that 97% will become a 3%er. By the way, at any point in this video, you want us to implement our cold email system for your business as well, you can click the first link in the description to book a demo call with us. But let's get right back into it. So when we launch a new client, we never just start with one email. We test at least 5 to 10, sometimes 25, sometimes 50 different variants right at the gate. A lot of that depends on which plan they do. If they're on the lower end, if they're only on our 5K a month seed tier plan, we're only sending 100,000 emails, where if they're on our 25K a month series A plan, we're able to do 1 million emails right at the rip. So we can do 25 variants just like we did for Fixer AI. You see, when we launched it for them, some of those variants were so bad that they took 25,000 emails just to get a single positive reply. But others only took 1,925. That's a 13x difference from the best to the worst. And if we had only tested one variant, we would have randomly popped up somewhere in between the middle of those and maybe even assume that cold email didn't work. So what are some of the variables we actually test? And what are some of the frameworks we think about? We like to test specific elements, not random hooks. We look at it the same way if you were running ads. You would sometimes change just a single word, but also you'll have different ads that are just a completely different vibe, a completely different angle, a completely different pain point. And so it can be everything in between. So some of these are your hook, which is probably the most important thing, what gets them to actually read the email. Obviously subject lines, they can matter. I think the rule here though is like, you don't need to be fancy with it. They just need to not look like a sales email. So they just need to look as the least impressive you can make a subject line. In my opinion, the better. The fancier you get with a subject line, the more likely someone just reads and goes, they're trying to get me to read this. They're trying too hard. And then vibe is kind of just the general tone and the body, right? Are you going for more of like a storytelling, like a LOM framework? Because maybe you're talking to marketing people, or do you have something super analytical and detailed because maybe you're talking to IT people, or do you have something short and punchy because maybe they work more in sales or more like founders? And those are all things that we think about. You have different call to actions. You have different social proofs. You have different PS lines. You have different AI personalization variables. Are you gonna have AI write the entire email, just a part of a sentence, just a word in a sentence, just some context in a sentence? their combinations are literally infinite. And of course, the most important variable is the offer itself, because it doesn't matter what we do on the cold email side. If you try to get me to send cold emails for you saying, hey, we have the best bags of poop in the world, we can't do anything for you. The offer is absolutely the core, obviously. You see, we've analyzed 40 million email sends in order to figure out what actually moves the needle. Out of all of these, we found that the hook is the most important element to make the email good. And once again, we're taking an obvious baseline assumption that you have a good offer. That is obviously the king when it comes to this. But out of all the variables that you can actually influence, we found that hooks are the single most important element. And we spend time iterating on hooks more than anything else. And something most people don't realize is that the email preview matters probably much more than the subject line. You see, when it's inside of your inbox, you'll see the subject line and you'll see probably the first sentence, maybe the first, I think it's about like the first, like maybe 25, 30 characters will actually go through on the email reader. That first sentence, the one that shows in the inbox preview, determines whether someone opens and reads. And if you nail the hook, everything else becomes easier. In fact, we have a special offer that we run where we actually give an incentive to the person, like if they make it to a meeting for one of our clients. And the interesting thing is that we don't actually put it in there to get more meetings. We put it at the front of the email to make it so that we get them to actually read the email, because that's the more important thing. We want the offer to be the thing that books the meeting, not necessarily the incentive for those clients that want to run that. What is some of the best email copy? And you have to know there's no one size fits all approach. So we'll hop through a bunch of examples. So for our B2B, short and punchy emails crush it. One of our best performing emails ever is dead simple. For this one, for almost every 200 emails we would send, we would get one person to sign up. And so it starts like this. Hey Joe, we built a tool that lets you know when your ideal customer profile is on your website. It identifies individuals, not companies. It's completely free. Reply yes if you want the link. When we say ideal customer profile, what we do is we actually use AI to research the ideal customer of the person we're emailing and insert it there into the copy. And so if someone was writing the email to me, they would go, hey Taylor, we just built a tool that will let you know when SaaS founders, AI marketing teams, or agency professionals are on your website. It identifies individuals, not companies. It's completely free. Reply yes if you would like the link. And that's it. That gets a 20 to 30% positive reply rate on average. And when we combine it with certain targeting mechanisms, we're able to get a 40% positive reply rate at scale when we're sending up to 300,000 emails per month for our B2B. But for Fixer AI, storytelling one. So one of my favorite exercises to do with a new client is talk to the founder and go, hey, I would like you to write an email. If you had like 10 minutes to research anybody in the entire world, how would you write the email? What research would you put in there? Like, hey, I noticed this, or blah, blah, blah. And so we did that with Fixer. Some of their founders and their CRO wrote a bunch of variants, and we tested theirs against our short and punchy version, and their founder written copy won. And what's interesting too is that eventually we combined the short and the punchy with the founders type of copywriting, and then that one became the ultimate one that won for them. But their version said stuff like, hey, me and my brother just launched a tool. It's truly amazing for most people. And like, I would never write truly amazing in an email, but it beat our version because it sounded like them, and the founders understand their product and their customers better than anybody else. But the lesson is there that you also have to test. We had those all went up, and also not all of the founders' emails did well. They wrote about 5 to 10 different variants. One was king. We did all of our normal stuff. Short and punchy became the winner. We then took the winners, combined them, and then we got a multiple on the efficacy of those. Always keep in the back of your mind, what works for one company won't work for another. You can't predict it. And in my opinion, we just let the data tell us what it is. I don't care. And the other thing is that testing many variants by hand would take forever, right? When you're launching 5 to 10 completely different angles per client per week, you need a systematic system, and you also need the analytics in place to be able to understand what is working well. And writing and reiterating on copy manually doesn't scale too well, at least when we do our volume. And so we have custom AI trained specifically for cold email. And when we first created it, we loaded it up with all the cold email courses and copywriting books we could find. We would also train it on every single week on all of our actual send data. We would go, cool, what are the top 5% of all the copy? And we would load that in and give it as really good examples. We'd load in the bottom 5% and give it those. And at this point, That AI has analyzed somewhere between 20 and 40 million email sends. There's a reason that OpenAI says this little thing for consuming 10 billion tokens. And the best part is that every client we have benefits from all of this historical data. So the AI will actually break down the emails as well. So we created a cool system where it breaks down the emails and it tags each variant of copy. So we have certain things. So we can know, okay, what are the different types of ideal customer profiles that we're targeting with this email? And so I actually analyze the leads that we have on our lead database. It's linked to this copy AI as well. We'll look at, okay, what is the offer type? Is it a PLG motion? Is it a sales motion? What type of hook did we do? Did we do an incentive hook? Or did we just go a right into value hook? Did we do a personalized hook or so on, right? What types of subject lines? Did we do a general subject line or did we do one that was kind of relevant to their industry? There's so many combinations of these things. And of course, what CTAs were there? Was it just yes to reply? Was it, can we hop on a call? And it'll tag each of those. So it'll tag that meeting, it'll tag it as low friction yes, and so on. And so then we can analyze all of our emails that we're sending at scale, and we'll soon, very, very, very soon, within weeks on our own platform, Outfound.io, we're going to be able to be cool. I want to talk to the director of sales at a paper manufacturing company. What is the copy that is going to do the best on that? And it's not just going to guess, it's going to look at all of the data and it's going to give me an answer within seconds. So we cannot wait for that. You see, it knows what performs for SaaS versus what will perform for agencies. It knows what hooks get opens and what CTAs get replies. And it's backed by hard data that no one else has access to apart from us. Once we have all these variables set up and we have the analytics in place to be able to understand all this data, well, how do you interpret the data? How do we make those decisions? And so once we have that data, we try to look for like, where is the heat? And what I mean by that is, where did our positive replies actually come from? What inbox type were they? Were they Gmail users? From my experience, Gmail users are twice as more likely to respond than Outlook users. What seniority was the person in the company? Are they C-suites and founders, or are they just a marketing or an entry-level person? What industry were they in? And some verticals will just convert better. And once again, all of these results are completely different client to client. How much headcount do they have? Because companies with 2 to 10 employees might respond at 70% higher rates than the others. Now we're not just guessing, we're just reading the data. And when you have the data, decisions are super easy. And so with our B2B, we know that 70% of our positive replies came from founders of companies between 2 and 10. And that makes sense because the founder of a 2 to 10 company, that's me. I have access to my DNS records and I'm still involved with that. So I can pop that in and I know how to put in the scripts on my headers of the website. I can just do that real quick, right? All of this data tells us exactly where to double down. And when you combine that with an at-scale mechanism, like we did for Fixer, where we were sending 8.8 million emails per month, you can take it even further. So when we started broad, our average email took 7,300 emails to get a positive reply. Terrible. Once again, the worst version in that took 25,000 emails to get a positive. But then after doing a lot of our testing, we then found a variant where it only took 1,925 emails in order to get a positive. But then if we took that best copy with the best targeting, i.e. C-suites with Gmail inboxes within certain industries at a certain headcount level, I can't share the industry and headcount because that's their own private information, but that would get us down, not from 25,000 emails to 1, not from 7,300 emails to 1, not to 1,900 emails to 1. It was 643 emails per positive. And that particular slice, C-suites with all those combinations, there were 302,000 people that fit that segment. And so we emailed 150,000 of them every month. And every time we did, we would sign up at least 460 people. But on the best months, it was 600 people. It became a predictable machine. The last framework I'll give you on our copy is our 70-20-10 framework. And this is once it's like, cool, we set up all of our copy, we tested, we had the analytics in place to be able to understand it. And now we analyzed and now we know which ones are the winners. But then how do we not grow scale? And so this is where our 7-20-10 framework comes in. Once we find a winner, we don't just run it forever, because what works right now will likely stop working within the next 6 months. And so we split up our volume. And this is something we directly learned from Hormozi. It's an awesome framework we learned when I got to meet him in person, is that 70% of our volume goes towards the proven winners, the campaigns that we know are printing results. 20% of our volume goes towards testing different versions of that main value proposition. So we're still testing different stuff. It's just like better versions of that specific version. And then the 10% goes towards completely new idea, off the wall stuff, crazy offers. And that 10% becomes our insurance policy because we're always looking for the next winner before our current ones burn out. And that's how, for our B2B, we've been able to run campaigns for them for over 2 years straight, and our conversions have never faltered. We have never burnt the TAM. And so for every client, no matter how well things are going, we always have that 10% reserved for brand new ideas. That way we can never get caught off guard when a winning campaign stops working. Now look, everything I just walked you through is a lot of frameworks and like some things that you can be thinking about as you're testing out your copy, testing out your offers. This is just how I think about it. This is what has served me well. But we also know that copy is just one piece of the puzzle. And if this seems like a lot to manage, if it seems overwhelming or anything like that, there's a lot more that goes into this. We haven't even gone into infrastructure, how to keep healthy deliverability, how to analyze your other results through different mechanisms, not just copy. And so if you want us to handle this for you and turn cold email into a reliable lead generation channel, then book an intro call with us by clicking the first link in the description. We'll map out your total addressable market to identify everybody you should be reaching. And then we'll set up a multi-domain infrastructure that is fully optimized for deliverability. Next, we do rapid testing to find your winning message with 5 to 10 variants, 25 if you're on our Series A plan. And finally, we scale to 100% of your total addressable market with your best performing campaigns on that 70-20-10 principle. So click the first link in the description to book your intro call below. And if you want to see how we built that cold email machine for Fixer that was making $4.3 million in annual recurring revenue, then watch this video next.